Hi, everybody. It is November 8th, and I'm incredibly excited about the amount of people on tonight's call. I'm incredibly excited about the amount of enthusiasm and engagement that has gone on this month in the group. I'm really proud of every single one of you. Guys, make sure you're all muted. And I just really couldn't be proud of you. And it's so important for me to verbalize that. Every single one of you in every single way has contributed, whether it's liking or commenting and supporting somebody, or taking that vulnerable minute to post your own picture or your own struggle, or what's working for you and how you're coming back. So amazing job. And all that leads into showing up for yourself. And that's the topic, and one thing that Yoni has been a true leader of, which is learning how to make promises to ourselves and keep them. So I'm going to turn the call over to a truly amazing personal friend, somebody who I'm really honored to have gotten close to because of this group and because of this community. And who definitely makes my life better every single day for being my friend and for being here in our community. So let's welcome the amazing, I have a thing for redheads, redheaded Yoni, and I'm going to turn this call over to her.
Okay, so first of all, I have to say that Shayna somehow had some sort of like prophecy. She had posted something this morning, and it was literally the notes of what I was going to talk about today, which first freaked me out totally, by the way. You should know Shayna. She had posted some quote about the connection of confidence and keeping promises to yourself. And that was literally about what my year or revisiting to be was. November 3rd, a year ago, I had been, after a very long time of neglecting myself, a lot of tragedy all in 1 year, and taking care of everyone around me, and not even putting myself on my priority list. Many of you have heard this before. And when I was presented both with a child who let me know that I was very slow, and Ima, you walking too slow, in the same time saw a picture of just how much I had neglected myself. That was it. I had literally picked up the phone, called Lily and said, I'm back. And I had done To Be the first time when it first came out. I thought at the time I really was in it to do it, to all the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, which I'm going to get to. I'm able to look back now and say, I didn't really make a promise to myself. And part of what I'm able to now look back at literally a year later is hitting the goals happened. Now, even if it wasn't the exact number I wanted, it happened to have been, and that again is irrelevant. But that this time around, I went in assuming the line isn't just going to go like this. It's going to be up and down and up and down and up and down. Because we're all not perfect. I know this is shocking to us as women, but we are not perfect. My husband heard me saying this right now. Anyway, but I think when I went in this time, I went in with real, authentic promises. And the first one that I literally said was, I will promise myself to make myself a priority. I mean, just by a show of hands, how many people on a daily basis put other people aside to say, I am a priority? 2 hands, 3, maybe. 5. Okay, there's a lot of people on this call, and 5 people raise their hand that they're mindfully making themselves a priority.
Now, and you can see that a lot of us have graduated to becoming coaches. People who are coaches said that.
You all are on this call. You all are on this call. So tomorrow, when you wake up, realize you have already mindfully decided to make yourself a priority. It's so silly to be able to say, oh my God, I matter. But I will tell you that that is who when I used to say I'm not built that way to do for myself. BS. We're not built to neglect ourselves. We have educated ourselves to negate ourselves. And just like we've done that, we can uneducate ourselves to neglect ourselves. And I think that part of I am confident because I kept a promise to myself. We all make promises to ourselves. What kind of promises are you making? We make promises of, I call them the shoulds. Am I shoulding myself? I should go to the gym. I should read more. I should eat healthy. I should start being more patient with people and not get aggravated. I should keep life in perspective. All these things that should promises are really dangerous. Should promises are half promises because they're the easiest way to lead ourselves to that shame and betrayal feeling. They're the easiest way to say, oh, I'm not living that ideal life that I picture for myself. And although you might do it here and there, you don't realize that it seems like not a big deal to shoulda promise. It takes a toll over time because what you end up doing is no different than other muscle memory. You accept the ability to break yourself down. There are times that we all make full-fledged promises. The issue is, do you make it with a genuine ability to see that this will be a gradual type of process? Or are you expecting radical change overnight? Are you saying that I want 100% turnaround within the next week and I just want to drop this weight or get in shape or suddenly see abs, whatever it might be? If you're not realistic, the sooner you make those fake promises, even though you in your head are making full-fledged promises, you will feel dejected, you will feel deflated. You're creating a trap. You're creating a trap of like this ruthless self-criticism. And if you continue that behavior, that's where you are literally putting the wall up that you can't have that self-care to open yourself up. When I had spoken last time about being vulnerable, the more you break yourself and the more you break promises to yourself, the less likely you are to accept that you deserve self-care. Now, I want to ask everybody else a funny question. How careful are you, and raise your hand, when you make a promise to someone else, how careful are you about keeping it? Raise your hand if you're someone who is wishy-washy, or if you make, why is somebody else more important? Why is a promise that you make to someone else so sacred? You are flawless when you make a promise to someone else. You tell them you're going to do it. Oh my gosh. I mean, I would sooner lose a limb than let somebody else down. But what are we doing on a regular basis? And I think that we put the importance of other people in front of our own self. The more that we deplete that truth to ourselves, the less we have to give. The more you keep promises to yourself, the fuller that confidence builds. If I tell you where I was a year ago, Lily could tell you, it was not a pretty place. And we just had a conversation amongst some of the coaches about things that we make promises to ourselves to work on. And as far as a confidence factor, and I said this to someone recently, and I never thought these words would come out of my mouth. I am in such a great place because I realized how many more positives came from saying to everyone else, this is my space. And you all want a happy mom, and you all want a healthy mom to be here for a long time. So if there are going to be some changes around here, you can get on board or you can fight, but this is how it's going to be. And it took me time to get there. It doesn't have to be in an aggressive way. It has to be, I did a lot of, I call it talking out loud. I would talk out loud to one person, maybe it was a daughter, so that the whole room of people would hear. I know you want Ima to be healthy, and I need to do this right now. And not in a passive aggressive way, but just in, everyone needs to know that this, just as much as I will run or have run myself ragged, it's time for you all to give me space so I can be there for you afterwards. And I think that when we make those smaller promises step by step, the bigger ones start falling into place. And anyone who's ever heard me talk, I always talk about bite-sized pieces. And I know it sounds funny because it sounds like it's related to food, but that's how I've now taken my life. When it comes to my meals, when it comes to exercise, when it comes to sleeping, I mean, we all have goals. My goal is literally to average 5 hours a night. I said 6 to Ayala this week, but that's a big lie. It's 5. If I start getting an average of 5 hours sleep a night for a while, that would be monumental.
But she did
And-
commit to baby steps, to that bite-sized thing. She didn't try to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna do 7. Again, so that's a very important thing.
About that in the background.
No problem. Guys, I'm going to take 1 sec and just jump in here. I love the way you guys are blowing up the chat. Keep going. Keep sharing your shoulds. Keep asking questions. That's the fun thing that Ayala, Dee, and I, and Jen, and everybody who's a coach gets to do while Yoni is taking all the center stage. We're here to engage with you in the chat. So keep sharing your thoughts. Look, I feel the shoulds all the time. I should be checking in on you guys every day, right? Don't you expect to hear from me like multiple times a day, like every meal? No, right? I should have my house be perfectly clean all the time, right? Versus one concrete goal, I'm always going to wash the dishes before I head to bed. Any dishes that happen after that, I can't control that. But I will wash all the dishes before I head to bed or make sure they're all washed. It's that difference between one concrete thing that you're committing to doing and one big should belief. I should already be at my goal weight. I should have figured this out already. I should be the perfect mom, the perfect wife, the perfect whatever.
Like for me, I should be able to control emotional eating by now, right? As a coach, as a this, someone doing To Be Mindset since the day it came out. There's so many shoulds.
Take it away, Yoni.
Go back.
The other thing, and I was gonna use, somebody wrote it in the group, and I wanted to ask people also, like, do any of you have regular shouldas that you get to the beginning of the next week and it's the same shoulda? I'm looking in the group. Right, Jude, thank you. Should is a really unhelpful word. Try replacing it with I will. I will. Make it small. I will. And accomplish that one small will this week. Not every day. Now start one day at a time. Today, I will. When you wake up tomorrow morning, open your eyes, start your day, and make one promise to yourself of what I will is. And that's what I'm actually going to write when I post in the accountability group tomorrow. What is your I will for the day? It could literally be, I will cut up a pepper and eat it while I'm doing work so I don't snack on other food. I mean, Ayala was just saying, I am the worst. I need to keep things busy. This is sitting by me multiple times a day, because if I need to feel like I'm putting something in my face, if it's here, I will choose good food. If I don't, I will choose not good food. So yeah, could also, Adi, that's awesome what you just wrote. But the whole point is about being concrete. Anything, should is this wavy word that it doesn't go anywhere. And the biggest thing I have learned, and this is where I changed from being a challenger to a coach, and it applies to everyone. It has nothing to do with becoming a coach. Promises shared or promises kept. Accountability. If you're making a promise, share it with us. Tell us, what is it that you're promising? Because somehow we still have that weird thing where we don't want to disappoint others. As you build to not disappointing yourself, share that promise. Talk to your coach. I'm struggling today with whatever that is. I will succeed at this today. Check in with me later. I want that to be my goal for the day. And take
We
all
love
those
it.
little,
Just as a point, I don't know a single coach that does not yearn for that. You guys make our day. If you ask us to hold you accountable for something, if you just reach out, right? Lily has said this all the time before. It's like our children, if they go out, what is so much better than us checking on them? If they just, right, if your kids just wrote to you, oh, hey, mom, I'm fine, just wanted to let you know that I'll be home in 5 minutes, you know, you'd be like, oh, good, I don't have to worry anymore. They checked in with me. And that's what both the coaches and the group are there for. And it helps with that even commitment to yourself. You post something in the group, whether or not somebody saw it on the feed right away or missed it or went on social media, it puts it out there to the universe and the world.
I love that you use that quote of mine because that's literally how I feel. Somebody here, I won't name names, called me today. They were really panicking over a situation that happened over Saturday night, Sunday morning, and we were just talking, and I'm like, that's what this is about. This is about when you are in need, like it could be out. I'm not saying that Ayala and I and the coaches are available every single second of every day, but we'll get back to you. And if you do it in the group and you really start to make connections in the group, it will change your life. It will, because that's how all of us coaches really became friends, was we got active in the group and we supported each other. And that really spilled into, oh, Yoni can see in my Instagram that I'm not quite my normal self and will call me, be like, Lily, what's wrong, sweetie?
so,
I don't see a water reminder. I know something's up, and it's really powerful.
yeah, I actually got one this week from Alana. Thank you. We had a late start to one day, which we can go into another time. I was trolled a bit this week. It was not so fun, whatever it was. And it threw me off. And all of a sudden Alana's going, where's your water reminder? Which is, I'm like clockwork, because in case anybody wants to know, how do I remember to drink? Every 45 minutes, my phone goes off. Every 45 minutes from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. And by the way, in case anyone isn't, I don't know how many of you raise your hand are already drinking Lily's hot cocoa. Started drinking it this week, but it's my godsend. Hitting those liters left, right, and center. But let me tell you, Alana, when you reached out, it was fantastic. It pulled me out of a place where normally I'm reaching out to different challengers. And so thank you. Because it was bimakom. It was exactly what I needed at that moment. But it meant that people are involved, that this family watches each other. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing, to be able to say, you noticed a change in someone's regular behavior, that something must be off.
And there's no exclusivity, just so you're clear. You want to ask a different coach something, like Lily said, not everybody's all available. I know I've told people before, you feel free to write to me, as long as you understand that I may not answer you when I'm sitting on the toilet, we're good. Like everybody has their own boundaries. But then you can also always reach out to somebody else, or if somebody, that's the whole point of all the engagement. Somebody can say something, somebody can do something, and you can reach out to a different coach, a different person in the group, because we really are all there for each other.
We are all here to help you commit that promise to yourself. And you don't have to start with, I'm really sorry to bother you. That's what we're here for. I could ask, every coach is now shaking their head. Without fail, 7 to 10 times a day. Sorry to bother you. I'm your coach. That's what I'm here to do. You don't have to say, I'm sorry. We all as women have to stop apologizing in general.
Quiet.
We
And it
love
just becomes
getting the
quiet
private
and listen.
messages, but if you do it in the group, like Sarah today posted the stevia question. You know how many people wonder which stevia to get? That post was 18 times more valuable than her just sending the message to me. She also sent it to me, but by doing it in the group, everybody else was able to learn from that and have a conversation about it. So we always love when you message us, but if you post in the group and tag us, you just helped us help so many people who have the same question you have. let's get back to promises to yourself,
okay.
Yoni, and
How to
what did
start
that
keeping
look like
promises to
in
yourself.
concrete numbers, and how did that build success for you?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What did that look like in concrete numbers? The reason originally we'd ask you to host this call was because you just had a big birthday and you did a post about, you know, a
Okay,
big
so
number you
I
hit,
called it my rebirth day.
but
My
it was
birthday's in
patience.
May.
And like you
It was-
said, it was never ever with you a very fast journey, and it wasn't that you weren't at numbers for months even at a time.
I have struggled with my weight since I was 16, and even my start weight for 2B is not my real start weight. For me, the first promise, and this is, I mean, it's the basic 2B, was I need to start drinking water. I remember the conversation, crying. I was literally crying to Lily, I can't drink 1.5 liters of water. I'm going to be sick. It's too much. I was devastated over, I can't get to this like almost 2 liters. I couldn't do it. And then I just picked up my phone that I'm always on and just started setting timers. And I made a promise for 1 week. I will make sure I hit 2 liters every day. And if you all realize how much I'm made fun of now for all my water reminders and do I live in the bathroom, which by the way, I should, but I started with a small promise. One thing, it was just water. And it was like following what Alana says. Water first. It wasn't even water's first veg, it was the first bunny of anything. And until I saw that I was really solid about the regular drinking, which at that weight wasn't the right amount, but I wasn't going to start overnight. And then I could build up. And then it was 2.5 liters. And then it still wasn't even jumping to 3 liters at that point. And I was still struggling. But each new thing, it's no different than anything we do in life. I needed to build a habit that it became second nature. It is so second nature to the point that if any of my family see me without some sort of liquid receptacle in my hand, they're walking over and handing me one. And I yell, it's laughing because her family I know does it too, and so does Lily's. But that it's now second nature that I could be in the street and the people at the supermarket area who live in my are like, and it's like a joke, but it's become
All my neighbors
beyond
ask me, "Oh,
habit.
what's in your cup right now?" Something.
What's in your
"What
cup?
What's
Is it
what's in that
tea?
cup?
Is it water? What are you drinking? But
You drinking
it
hot cocoa?"
became second nature. And then it was the amount, which for me, I sabotaged myself at the beginning. I kept promising myself I'm not going to overeat, only to realize I am a volume eater. I lose when I really eat proper amounts. And when I would take away the second piece of lechem kal in the morning, and I would take away certain amounts of veggies on my plate, the scale wouldn't move. And then I added a piece of bread, which went against everything that I knew because I kept saying diet. I promised myself this wasn't a diet. I think that was actually, let me go back. That was the first thing I said. This is not a diet. I need to build a relationship between myself and food. And anyone who now has seen my transformation over the last year, and I can say I lost 52 pounds in 1 year. It was not a pound a week by any stretch of the imagination. So please don't think that that's, oh, it was a pound a week. Look at that. It was definitely not. I had weeks that I was up 4 or 5 pounds in a week. I had weeks that I dropped 2 or 3 in a week. But the first promise this time around was I can't make this a diet. I can't have one more diet with a history of eating disorders and bad relationships with food in general. I needed to get back to 0 and say, food is here. I can enjoy it, but it's not the center of my life. It is going to be what allows me to enjoy the other things in my life. And I'll enjoy a meal when I'm having it. Please don't get me wrong, but it isn't that stressor of it's mealtime. Oh God, what am I going to eat? And at the beginning it was. At the beginning when I started, what's on my plate? How do I do? Yeah, that was the learning curve of any new job, any new task, any new anything does have a stressor of a learning curve. I don't think about it now because I make sure to promise myself there are the things that I need in my house so I don't hit stumbling blocks. That's the next one. How how do we keep promises to ourselves? What can we do to start keeping those promises? First, before you even get to keeping it, do a self-assessment. What am I really, truly wanting out of my life? What really, truly needs to change? And it doesn't have to be big, lofty things. Make a list. Set aside time, go back to the list. The first time you write it, it doesn't have to be the be all end all, make it in print. Make a list, come back to it. Scratch some things off and decide, okay, these are the things that I need to be doing. Which ones keep rising to the top? And then choose one to work on, just one. Make real progress in that one and then add another, because the one becomes your routine that the second one can be based on. If you want success in that promise, it has to be right there in your brain as the first thing you're doing in the day. And if it becomes, I'll get to it, it's no longer a priority. Create a plan. That would be the second piece. Create a plan of how you keep promises to yourself. The how. What likely hurdles am I going to face along the way? What is my plan for handling those hurdles when I'm going to meet them? Because we all know we hit that, okay, COVID less, but we hit that event where there's a lot of food in front of us, or that birthday. I had 2 birthday parties, both for my father-in-law and my son in 1 week, where there were very creamy, unbelievable cakes in my house. How am I going to deal with that? You know what my answer was? I had a small piece of each. I made myself really good food opportunities the rest of those days and the rest of the week. And I didn't feel guilt, and I was a part of the happiness, and that was okay. And guess what? I still lost because I didn't have to have a piece that's this big, but I was part of everybody's celebration. So what are those obstacles you are prepared to endure? And what are the ones that you will circumvent altogether?
Can you talk a little bit about exercise? We had a question here about how your relationship with exercise changed, if at all. I know the answer, but other people want to.
Okay, so for myself, I started with my goal being, I need to drop weight so I have less me to move. That's how it worked for me. Other people they need to just do the moving, and the most important part for me was nutrition. I needed to get healthier from my core. It wasn't about muscles. It wasn't about anything else.
You also had injuries, pre-existing injuries.
Right. I was going to say, I have a completely reconstructed ankle. Lots of physical other things that are continuing to be limitations. But for myself, I hit 18 pounds down, and I literally said, "Hi." I got my life started back. And at that 18 pounds for myself, I said, once a week, let's see if we can start once a week, depending on what it was. For me, it was country heat. I felt like an idiot, I'll be honest, but I laughed at myself the whole way through. And I kept calling Lily, going like, don't you feel so dumb? She's like, who cares? Laugh at yourself. My kids were in it. They jumped on. And as I did it, again, for me, the workout is still a struggle just because I work from home. I still have most of my children home because they're all, except for my little one, is above 5th grade. So just getting the exercise down once school started again was a lot harder. I made a commitment to myself a week ago. I don't get enough sleep. Now, I know this is going to sound completely backward. I don't sleep well. So I decided I'm going to start waking up at 5 something in the morning, 3 days a week, to go walking, not for the point of exercise, but because I realized when I couldn't sleep one night and just went for a walk, I couldn't keep my eyes open past 10:30 that night, and went, hey, if I get up and walk early, I'm going to be tired. That hits a different goal in the totally twisted way, but we're going to go with it. And for some reason, that worked for me. If I get in a different Beachbody workout during the week, great, bonus. But 3 days a week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays, if I can move myself, I am out my door by 5:30. I have no idea how this works, but I guess it's just, I said I'm going to do it. And I did it. And I am grumbling that first 5 minutes out of bed. Don't think I'm like, oh, yay, 5:30, I can't wait. I'm not. I am different than other coaches. There are coaches who live for the exercise. I need to push myself every single day, either to hit play or to get my butt out of bed and do it.
Can
But
I just stop 1 second on that? There could be coaches that live and love exercise. I do, it makes me feel great. Every day is different. Ask Lily. I wrote to her today, the last thing I wanted to do was get out of bed, to the point where my husband said, stay in bed. I got the kids this morning. And then I did. And then do you know how much harder it is? Not every day is the same. Okay? But that's the point of what Yoni was saying before. When you start with one thing at a time and building it as a habit, then I knew I was gonna get up and do it, and it wasn't gonna be easy, and it wasn't maybe gonna be fun in the beginning. I've never regretted it at the end. So it's not even if you guys see me smiley and this, yes, I love it. You know, sometimes you see me smiley in the middle and again smile at the end, but again, not every day is your best, whether it's with nutrition or fitness. And not every day, even people that love exercise are rah, rah, go, go, and, you know, always up
For
for it.
me, when I started exercising with Beachbody, I was 210 pounds. Now I know a lot of you guys, maybe you're newer to the group and you only recognize me at like 130 something, but I was 210 pounds and was starting Beachbody workouts. And I would say it wasn't until I was doing them for 2 years that they were something that I look forward to. Now I'm sick today, and when I started feeling better, I'm like, Tayela, I'm like, I so want to work out right now. She's like, you are
I'm
not.
like, don't you dare, don't you dare.
Like, I know I'm staying in bed, but like the second I felt better, all I wanted to do was get a workout in, a mobility workout, a stretch workout, nothing. But once, and the same thing is with eating my vegetables. I was looking back and I was like, I always liked vegetables. I don't know. I looked back at how I really ate before 2B. Sure, I ate vegetables, but I didn't eat vegetables. Like I didn't think about my meal based on what vegetable I'm having, which is how I think about food. Ooh, what vegetables am I in the mood for? And then everything else kind of works itself out. Like once you make the promise to yourself and you see it work and you see who you can become. I don't look at exercise as just the physical benefit of exercise. To me, exercise or eating to be or continuing to refuse to be anxious and let the scale and food rule my life is who I become by doing that. The person who keeps that word to herself is so attractive to me. I will push play to make her appear. I will eat the vegetables and make her appear. But she's the person who's pulling me to show up when things are hard because she's waiting on the other side of play. How I feel about myself when I do those things is worth everything. And yes, abs are great, but every time I pull up my shirt when I go in the bathroom and I look at my own abs, it's to remind myself I am not that fat kid anymore. I can do if I could do this, I could do anything. And I know, Yoni, you feel the same way, I'm sure, about, you know, when you look
so
at
that was my next point. I
it's
think the biggest thing that we have seen in the group about you need to make a plan for yourself about self-talk. We are so amazing, and I've watched in the group, we are so amazing about building each other up. When I tell people about, I get emotional, how much, I didn't think I'd be crying, but how much this group, it is because of you, I hit my goals. If I didn't have this group, my coaches are amazing, but without this group, I would never have made it. We are so amazing at building each other up. We are so amazing about, even the other day as we joke, straightening each other's crowns. How good are we about breaking our own negative self-talk? How good are we about saying, I am going to make one more step on my journey to reach my goal? Not as good. So where in that promise are you going to make that daily affirmation? I am going to let myself know how much I am worth following through with this promise. Because that is the bottom line of all this. If you can't promise yourself you're worth it, and sometimes we know we have to say things until we get there, because I said it for a very long time. I'm there, which is a crazy thing for anyone who's known me in all my 43 years. I love me right now. And that is a crazy thing for me as a human being to say. I have things I have to work on. I by no means am perfect, but being able to look at myself and say, I finally feel good in the body I'm in, and I have somewhere to go and some things to make more lean. And this is the me I'm meant to be. And it took this group and my amazing coaches to help me get there. So I think part of the tomorrow for everyone really is about what is the one thing I will do? And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Decide today, write it for yourself. I'm going to ask you all tomorrow in the group anyway. What is
Ready,
your
Coach?
I will?
And everybody go right in the group, continue this conversation. Amazing. And
Any
I will
coaches
upload
make
the
a-
recording right now. Please go share your insights. I'm going to post the picture. Go share your insights, and then I'll post the recording as soon as it uploads. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Have a great week, everybody.
Tell
Bye, guys.
everyone.
Thank you, Yoni.
Pleasure.